three. Let's do it. Okay.
Okay, it's recording apparently.
Oh boy,
It's immediately recording. Excellent.
There's no going back.
There's no going back now. We're
All right.
Edit this at all.
welcome back, everyone, to Nothing Cast, I guess.
That's right.
Is this the
Nothing Cast International.
video?
I'm a very special guest from international land.
This is the very first one we've ever filmed.
This is the first video podcast.
This is our face reveal episode.
Yeah.
Damn.
I haven't watched
In
it.
case you haven't watched any other
You haven't seen
videos.
any of the other videos on your channel.
Yeah. No, this is the big face reveal. This is also the 50th episode of Nothing Cast.
Oh, yeah,
it's
so-
a special.
Hey,
Special
congratulations.
Special.
We
So-
made
Wow, it means it's been around for 50 years.
episode. Yeah.
50 years.
Imagine doing one of these every 12 months.
Yeah.
50th anniversary edition.
It's not that far off
Yeah.
from the actual recording schedule.
Which is whenever we feel like it.
Yep.
All right.
I like that. I respect that in a podcaster, though.
Yeah. We don't want to force it, it has to
Nothing.
come organically.
But organically, we literally smashed our heads together a few days ago, and we're like, what's an idea we could do for a Nothing Cast?
Yeah,
Right.
Apparently, everyone in this chat has great ideas for Sky High sequels.
Yeah, I do.
I could blur it.
Are you sure?
Do you have another shirt?
Yeah. I'll go
Okay.
get another shirt. I'll be back.
Here, I'll go
Powertrain.
get you one of my jumpers, and then.
Oh, yeah. Oh, perfect.
Oh wait.
All right.
If I change my Captain America shirt, we wouldn't want Captain America getting sad for being affiliated with this podcast.
We don't want Marvel suing us.
This really is international. I got Nepal on my shirt.
Oh, wow.
It just says
I have a Brooklyn hoodie on.
Brooklyn.
Look at this. Well, so you guys want to quickly talk about the first Sky High? And
Yeah.
how
Sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. The premise for this episode is that we're gonna pitch ideas for some kind of sequel or reboot of the Sky High franchise, which currently is just one film, but we think they should do more with it because it's a fun idea.
No, it's really great. Like the first movie is like, or I guess the only movie, that one movie that Disney made
15 years ago.
15 years ago is fantastic for some reason. It's just really great.
It's campy and self-aware,
Mhm.
and I think that's it. I think it's campy
And, and it's shot like a comic book. The cinematography is so good. Like every shot I could see like as a still frame in like, it's
Wait,
just,
talking about.
The original.
right,
Sky High.
actually.
yeah, like,
I don't know.
I don't know about that. I
Yeah.
partially disagree with that.
yeah.
There's a shit ton of Dutch angles, and they're all
Yeah.
wrong.
Over one.
It's like the first Thor,
Yeah.
where it's like,
I like the Dutch
I kind
angles.
of understand comic books, so I'm gonna make them all look like a comic book panel by tilting the camera over, but it just comes off as looking really stupid.
I like.
So-
I don't think so.
I like
I
certain
like it.
Certain uses of it are really good, but a lot of them
I don't know
are.
what you got against the Dutch, man.
No, but it is true that watching the first Thor movie makes you have a headache.
Oh no, the first Thor movie is nauseating, but I love Sky High for whatever reason. I feel like it.
No,
works
I
in
think
Sky
like
High. It doesn't-
the rest of it's like really great though.
Yeah.
Like the acting in the movie is like really solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really great.
There's so many like little background jokes and stuff that like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really clever.
There's a lot in there
Oh,
for
like
people who like
The bit
super-
where he's got like a drawer full of phones because he
Yeah,
works
yeah.
as one, and just like stuff like that. Like just some physical humor is great.
So good.
Yeah, the self-awareness of having, Superman-esque strength, what that means for daily life. Very, very Incredibles.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's kind of that same exact.
Yeah.
premise.
It's the Incredibles mixed with Harry Potter. Like,
Yeah.
That's pretty much
So it says on the cover.
I think it puts that on the box, doesn't it?
probably.
It does. It says that exact thing on the box.
Is it actually?
I think
It
so.
does.
Actually? I didn't know.
Wow.
It says that's the exact
accurate.
quote on the box.
It's accurate.
Yeah.
Huh. That's good marketing is what that is.
Yeah. But I mean, I couldn't think of a better definition. Like it's kind of its own thing in that way that
Yeah.
it's like a mishmash of these two pretty unique franchises.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, my ideas are not very skewed towards the Harry Potter high school-esque
Right.
aspects because I am not good at that.
Yeah.
And I couldn't think of anything because
interesting.
everything I thought of was stupid. And then I was like, wait, that's the point. And then I had a migraine.
Because it's a high school drama, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, the high school drama's dumb, so I can't do this. I can't write this.
Yeah.
Truly, I got caught in a loop of stupidity.
Yeah.
But
My
at the same time, I like something like that. Everyone.
That's fair. My ideas are very high school oriented, so don't worry.
So let's just take our ideas and smash them together.
Yeah, perfect.
All right, who's going first?
I have no idea.
Shall we roll a die?
Roll for initiative.
Can we roll for initiative?
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Oh, we're
I
all
have here a 6-sided die, and on a 6 we re-roll. 1 is Patrick, 2 is me, 3 is Hunter, 4 is Jacob, and 5 is Danny. Here we go. That's a 1.
That's Patrick.
Patrick, that's you.
Okay. All right. So I got my little doc here open. So here's my pitch for Sky High 2, I guess. I don't know. 2 Sky, 2 High. I'm a little iffy on titles, names of characters, some things like that, just minor details, but I have I have an act structure, so I hope that's good.
That's more than what I have. I just have a premise. That's it.
I mean,
like
a
couple. Yeah, I have a premise and a couple ideas of how it could go.
All right. So okay, I'll try to make this brief then, so we have time for everyone. So Sky High 2. So the idea is that it's like 25 years later or something like that, and it's all about like the kids of the heroes from the first movie. But the first thing we see is
you have a similar idea.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry.
They go to high school in mine though.
Don't worry.
Whoa!
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Mine's also about the kids of
Actually?
previous movie.
Yeah.
I
Oh
love
wow.
it.
What a
Yeah,
concept.
it really is. I'm interested to see where the differences lie, though,
Yeah,
because I guarantee my idea for the kids is different.
I think mine might also be different, but we'll see where this
Okay,
goes.
we'll see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see.
keep going.
All right. So but we open on it opens with almost like an action. It's like an action sequence with like a Justice League kind of versus Legion of Doom type thing. The Justice League is like all the heroes from the first movie. Except Layla, I wouldn't imagine she would do that. In this universe, she went and took her powers to go solve world hunger and stuff, because she's not really a fighter. I feel like that fits better with her character. She's like, I'm a pacifist. I don't really want to fight anyone, and that's a way to make the world a better place without fighting anyone. So I feel like that's what she would have done. But Will's in there because he's basically Superman. So he's there. It's Will and Lauren, Warren. I read that. Zach, Ethan, whatever. They're all there. Magenta's there, and then Penny is also there.
I'm gonna call her Guinea Pig Girl because I don't remember.
Yeah. Anyway, and then
Yeah.
Penny is there as well, and she's a good guy now. And so they're fighting against.
He's a good guy. now.
Yeah. And so,
Wait, who?
Penny.
the copy girl.
Oh, she's good now?
Yeah.
She's good now. Yeah.
I like
yeah.
that.
Because
Cool.
And so they're fighting against Lash, Speed, Royal Pain, a few other random villains, and maybe Warren's dad is there as well. So there's this kind of bad blood, and we finally meet him, and it's so it's a really kind of intense kind of family tie there, and they've got they've had this pretty they have a fight or whatever, and then the heroes end up they inevitably end up beating the bad guys in this crazy opening action sequence where they blow a lot of the budget, but and so in this fight, what happens is that Penny ends up actually dying. She sacrifices herself to save someone or something like that, and she ends up getting killed in this fight. So it's a victory, but kind of bitter, because they're we lost a Justice League member today, and so she's just dead, and they're although they're more kind of sad about that, and she'd come so far, especially from being such a jerk in high school, and now she's dead and stuff. So then we kind of flash forward about a few months, and it's the first day of school, and so it's Will and Layla's daughter. It's her first day of school, and her powers haven't shown up yet, and it's looking like they aren't going to really, and she's kind of but she's still a little hopeful, and she's powers are sick, they're cool, I'm all about that life, and her her friends are like, her friend group is like Zach and Magenta's kid who can like, he can like turn into like a tiger with like glowing stripes. That's what I imagine. And then like,
So it's cool.
and then yeah, so the idea is that her friends have like these really cool powers and she does it.
Okay.
So it kind of like pours like salt in the wound for her.
Right.
And like her other friend is Warren and Ice Chick's daughter, and she's like a hydromancer basically.
Oh, that's very cool.
Okay.
That's very cool.
Yeah, and so anyway, so they're like this cool friend posse, but like she ain't got power, so she's like kind of feeling like, you know, like the runt of the litter, because like, you know, she's just. So anyways, the intro for this movie kind of it kind of mirrors the intro of the last movie, and it's like, oh, like she's kind of like at the breakfast table or whatever, and then Duty calls and Will's like, I gotta go save the world or whatever. I heard something about aliens or whatever. But before he goes, he's like, this is page 5, theme stated. So he's like, you know what, like, you know, you're like,
script.
no, that's just a script writing thing. So anyways, he's like, before he goes, he's like, you know what, like they used to have like a hero track and a loser track when I was in school and stuff, and like the thing about that is that like having powers doesn't make you like a good person. That's not what makes a hero or a villain. It's what you do with what you have that makes you good or evil. And so like, don't get down on yourself for not having powers. I know I'm the one to talk, but like, you know, that's not what's going to matter, because those bullies that you see in high school, they're going to be villains one day. So just like, you know, think about that. You know, think about, it's not about what you can do. It's about like what you do with that. And so then he gives her some of that dad wisdom there. And then they go to the new Sky High, and it's kind of reformed a bit. So there's not really like a hero track or a loser track. They're just kind of like classes. Because I would imagine after the first movie that they wouldn't categorize people by if your power sucks or not, just given the events of that movie, and just given how much progress humanity has had in even the last like 20 years. I'd imagine if there's a time jump that it would be more progressive. So Sky High's still like a much more progressive school, but there are still bullies because she doesn't have power. So like in a world where it doesn't matter what your power is, if you don't have power, it sucks. Because it's like, you know, even though that's what kind of distinguishes her from them, is that like, you know, people always find a reason to make fun of you, but like this is like a really like easy target for bullies. So obviously there's bullies at school. And then she meets Boring Hot Guy, is what I'm calling him right now. And so Boring Hot Guy is totally into her for some reason, and she's like, yay, that's cool. And then like maybe the best friend that's a boy is like jealous of that, maybe. And so yeah, well, you know, it's cliche, but it's also very high school, and I also might be ripping off the first movie. Anyways, and so she's kind of angsty about not having powers and stuff, and her mom, Layla, is like, fighting is bad, and then her dad's like, listen to your mother, because, you know, Will got into some fights in high school, and, you know, but she's like, you know what, like, if I ever get into a fight, like, with one of these heroes, I have to be able to defend myself. So she goes and starts learning martial arts from her grandmother, Will's mom, because she says that she's, like, really good at hand-to-hand stuff, because all she can do is fly. Being able to fly doesn't make you indestructible. So she learned a bunch of like hand-to-hand combat stuff, right? And she said she was an expert in that. So we kind of have a bit of a montage where she's learning like hand-to-hand, and they're having classes and stuff. Meanwhile, the Justice League, the heroes from the first movie, are like fighting aliens, and it's like kind of nuts. Like, what's up with this? And we kind of see the alien HQ briefly, and they're like throwing aliens in this weird pod thing, and their leader is like a big mech suit, and he's like, yes, it's going according to plan, or whatever. Boring, evil scene, whatever. We gotta have one of those. So then protagonist ends up going on a date with Boring Hot Guy, and then Boring Hot Guy reveals that his mom is Penny from like, you know, the last one, and she's like dead and stuff, and he's like, yeah, I'm like kind of sad about that or whatever, but you know, she fought the good fight, and, you know, I don't know, it's not the goal to die in life, but if I ever do, I want to go out like that, you know. So protagonist is like, wow, sympathy, attraction, I guess. So then her friends are like super suspicious of Hot Guy. They think he's like kind of shady. So then the protagonist has a falling out with her friends, and then she ends up getting like stood up by Hot Guy that night. And then the next day, the new bully characters are like, you ain't got your friends to protect you, what you gonna do? And then she like breaks one of their arms, or like dislocates one of their shoulders or something like that, because she's like, screw this, like I don't have to take this, and she's in a really bad place. So she kind of gets suspended, and they're like, you know, they're like, maybe she shouldn't even go here because she doesn't have powers. So they're like thinking about maybe expelling her. So things really aren't looking good. She gets grounded, and then that kind of brings us into the third act. And so in Act 3, this is when things kind of go off the rails. The protagonist kind of realizes that something's up at Sky High, and that she has to stop it. And so I don't know, I'm a little loose on the details right now. But she realizes something's up and she has to stop it. So she calls her friends. They don't really answer her, but she leaves a message. She's like, please help me when you get this, kind of thing. Just trust me. I know we're not in a good place right now, but this is bigger than you and me. So anyways, she gets there and she finds like the alien HQ like in the base and like in Sky High, like it's underground or something, I don't know, but it's in Sky High, the alien base. And she finds out Boring Hot Guy in this alien mech suit comes out, and it's Boring Hot Guy, and he's the one who's been growing all these aliens and stuff. And she's like, why are you growing aliens and stuff? This is freaking weird. And he's like, okay, so here's the deal. I'm totally against like superpowers in general. Like the only reason we have superheroes is because there are supervillains. So if there were just no powers, we wouldn't have any problems in this universe. So his goal is to like sterilize the human race of having superpowers, and he's going to do that by launching it from Sky High. But he's going to blame it all on aliens. So he's been growing an army of aliens to like occupy the time of all these heroes, and then he can blame this sterilizing of humans on the aliens. So he's going to unite the world against an alien threat as opposed to like another person. And so that's why he's like totally into her, because she doesn't have powers. Yeah, and he's like all about that. And so he's kind of like sterilized himself. He's like tested it on himself, and he's like, my powers are gone now. This thing works. Like I can do this. And she's like, you're crazy. And we gonna stop you. And so there's a fight or something, and they end up saving the day. And then I want to have a bit where one of the characters from the first movie ends up losing their powers in this fight, whether it's like Will, or like maybe like Will's dad like jumps in front of someone to like stop them from losing their powers. And that would kind of be an interesting thing for his character, especially because he's like, calls everyone, he thinks like, he's kind of a jerk. Like he's like, you're kind of a loser if your powers suck. And so it might be like a really big kind of like another kind of the natural progression for his character growth to kind of, sacrifice his powers for saving, this new generation. And so I haven't really decided who it would be, but someone would lose their powers in that fight, and then they would they'd stop him, they save the day, and then the kind of he ends up going to prison and stuff. But the kind of solution from that is that now the justice system has like a sentence to supervillains to like get rid of their powers, and sentence them is to not having powers anymore, because it works. So it's like, if you're going to just be evil with your powers, you shouldn't have them. And so that's something that kind of gets added to the justice system. So that way, that guy, like the parts of his philosophy that were correct kind of get implemented that way. And then, I don't know, maybe she falls for her best friend that was there the whole time or something. I don't know. I'm kind of loose on the details here. But the point is that her arc is like, she wanted powers initially, and now she's like, no, like, I don't need that to be super. And she kind of becomes like a Hawkeye Batman type thing. And that's kind of my pitch for Sky High 2. That's what I got.
Cool. Wow. Okay.
Please don't be offended if we don't all have that level of detail.
Yeah.
I won't be. This is just.
I just have a premise.
That was great though.
A few moments that I think would be cool, and like a couple of ideas, and then it's like, and then
the pitches like that are super fun because it's like
wrapped up at some point.
Yeah. Yours feels very much like an actual like treatment for a script.
Yeah.
It's very loose, but like.
This is you actually pitching the story.
I'm sorry, did I try too hard?
No, that's good. That's good.
Funny. It's just
we enjoy it.
Yeah. My idea is actually very similar to yours, but there's a couple key differences. So I think it'll be interesting to compare. Yeah.
You want to go next, or do you want to roll the die?
What was the order? Do you even remember?
I just went like this.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, let's roll the die again then, I guess, and then we'll see who.
Well, now we've got a 4-sided die.
Oh, okay, great.
And now I'm one. And Hunter is 2, and Jacob is 3, and Danny is 4. And here we go. 3.
My idea was it's a TV show.
Yeah, okay.
And instead of a movie, and it's sort of like a soft reboot, where it's a new protagonist. Because I was thinking that if it's set like modern day, then that the main characters from the first movie would be a little too young to have kids that are in high school, unless it's like a teen pregnancy thing. So I was like, they would never do that. So
This is Disney we're talking about.
This is Disney.
the new protagonist, I haven't given much thought into the protagonist, whoever. Like, it would be sort of like a Spectacular Spider-Man, Danny Phantom type of thing,
Right.
where it's like it's a high school show, but it's also with superheroes. So, yeah, like a villain of the week thing, and sometimes it could be like a bully or whatever, and sometimes it could be like outside of high school, which we don't usually.
Yeah, we don't
see.
really see anything.
Yeah, so I was
outside.
thinking we could like there could be like a street level villain or whatever that they have to fight. But there would be like an overarching like villain, like a main villain.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was thinking it could be Chris Evans. And
Yeah.
he's just an evil Human Torch. And,
Can he be Warren's dad?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. that would-
Very cool.
yeah. I didn't even think of that. Yeah. That's great. Yeah, that's
That'd be
perfect.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah. And like, but like the Stronghold family would still be in the show,
Right.
but they're superheroes now. So like the main character could see them on TV or whatever and look up to them. They're like, wow, I really wish I could be like them.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And like Bruce Campbell would still be the gym teacher.
Of course.
One of them.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But there wouldn't be like a class system.
Right.
It
Okay.
is- yeah, same with Patrick.
Yeah.
Because we kind of completed that arc. And
Wait, was the gym teacher's actual superhero name Boomer? In the show?
His last name.
Sonic Boom was his super name.
Sonic Boom.
Yeah. His last name was Boomer though. That was his.
That's what I was thinking, because of course now Boomer is a thing.
Right.
So you put it in this.
Okay.
And then they go, okay.
That's what Layla says.
Oh yeah, that's just something Disney would do.
just like for,
More like gym teacher, man.
just for like the season 1 arc, Chris Evans would be the villain,
Right.
And then like at the end, like the main protagonist and Will would have to like team up to fight Chris Evans.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then like halfway through the battle, like Will is like taken out. Well, he's not dead, but he's just knocked out or whatever. And then Chris Evans is like, I can do this all day. Character has to beat Chris Evans all on his own. And wins. And like, wow, you're gonna be a great superhero one day. And then I don't know.
No,
That's
that's
so
great.
great.
That's really good.
I like the idea of of like a show of some kind where it's like villain of the week stuff too. I think that would be really fun.
Yeah,
because it's a superhero
Yeah.
thing, so that would be perfect.
Yeah, it sounds great.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Amazing.
It's such a good idea of him being Warren's dad.
Yeah.
No, that's
perfect.
I love that idea. Danny, you're up.
Oh, am I up? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me find my notes. I had
He rolled his 3-sided die.
cool.
I rolled the 4-sided die, but ignored a 3.
Cool. All right. So my idea is similar to Patrick's, where it's like a little bit later, and it's based on the kids of the characters from the first movie. I also wanted it to be like more of like a show as well, because I think you can do more fun stuff over the course of like several episodes and stuff. And I was trying to think of cool ideas, and the one idea I came up with was I really liked the idea that Warren was Warren Peace was the kid of a supervillain and a superhero. So I came up with so the main show is based around his and Ice Girl's daughter, and Ice Girl turned bad at some point, so she's a villain now.
Okay.
And she got custody of the daughter.
Okay.
So she brings.
Oh.
It's about the daughter. She's like the main character,
Right.
and she goes to the villain high school. That's so it's about.
Whoa.
And it's like the anti-Sky High where they train all.
That's
so
great.
it's around, and I was trying to think of like a cool reverse of Underground, like an underground version of Sky High.
Right.
And I couldn't come up with any good ideas. The best one I came up with was it's called Descendiary Secondary. Yeah,
That's amazing.
Oh.
so yeah, and it's also basically the same plot of
Oh.
Descendants, which is this Disney Channel movie about the kids of all the villains from like the classic Disney movies.
Oh, okay.
And I'm probably the only one on this podcast.
No, I've heard of it. I've never seen them. I've heard of it.
I've heard of it, but I've seen the first one.
I've heard of it, but I didn't know
First
that's what
Yeah.
the first one was.
Yeah, there's like 3.
Oh wow.
It's like the biggest Disney Channel movie series since High School Musical, and it's like incredibly popular for some reason. They're not very good. But yeah, the main plot is about like the daughter of Maleficent, and then she has to like infiltrate the like good guys high school, and it's like dumb. So that's what I did.
Okay.
And like I had a bunch of kind of cool ideas. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, so also I did the thing that Patrick did where she doesn't have any powers because she has the parents of 2 superpower people, but it's a little bit different from the first movie where, because she doesn't really get them either, like she doesn't acquire powers either. So but because she goes to the villain school, like everyone is even like worse at like picking on people than like everyone else. So like the first day of school, she like gets into a fight with another kid and like bites their ear off to like show how like ruthless and crazy she is, so that like no one fucks with her. And then like throughout the show she has to like try even harder to be like ruthless and like evil and like cunning and stuff to like climb up the ladder of the social pecking order essentially. And then eventually partway through the show she gets sent on a mission to infiltrate the good guy school. So then she goes like undercover essentially in Sky High to like try to take it down from the inside out. And then she meets like the kids of like Will and Layla and like fucking Tiger Boy Magenta guy.
It's such a good idea.
Yeah, and then I don't know exactly how it plays out, but I wrote something about how the eventual goodness of the heroes causes her to change sides, and she becomes a good guy by the end. Also, like an episode where, as part of the like villain's plot to take down Sky High, they have to she has to discover that there's like a supervillain prison somewhere, and someone at Sky High knows about it, which is part of the why she's like undercover there. And so there's like an episode where she has to break out Baron Battle, her grandfather, from like a supervillain jail. And then like once she meets him, she's like, oh man, this is gonna be awesome. We're gonna like be evil together and stuff. But then like he's just like an asshole,
Right.
because he's a villain.
Yeah.
And maybe it's Chris Evans. Just steal that idea. Just fuck it. And yeah, I don't know. And then I had one idea to it eventually she turns good, and I was thinking, even though I kind of like the idea for not having powers and having to like struggle and work harder, I thought it might be kind of fun if like in the season finale she has to like turn against her mother who's like evil, and then that's when her powers manifest. which is kind of cheating, but whatever.
No.
It's the season finale, so fuck it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's my idea.
No, that's good.
Oh yeah, and there's like a lot
That
of
was good.
like just like seeing how the villain high school works, and they take like dumb classes like monologuing 101,
Right.
and like they learn how to make doomsday devices and stuff like that. That's all I got.
That's a great idea.
Yep.
I like that idea a lot.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I just think it would be really fun if
Yeah.
it was like an anti-Sky High.
Yeah.
And that they have some.
Incendiary secondary.
Yeah, it's just so the stupidest name ever. But
Amazing.
That's so good.
It's worthy of the history books. All right, Hunter, do you want to go next or last?
Mine's not that great, so I guess I'll go. I'll save yours for last because I'm sure yours isn't much.
Oh no. Okay. All right. Yeah. Go ahead. We'll do this.
Josh is like, stop hyping me up.
I'm not worth it.
I don't have that much, so I have a general premise. So it would be a series.
Right, okay.
That was it was like, oh, this would make a great series, like that after we watched the movie. So basically, it would start very similarly to Sky High,
right.
like the movie, where the main character is the child of two superpowered parents,
Right.
but he's hiding the fact that he doesn't have powers from them, right? But then you'd like see stuff on the news about how there's like tensions between sidekicks and heroes,
Okay.
and that they've been growing ever since like since the movie happened.
Right.
And so they go to Sky High, and like although like it basically be the same sort of thing as the first one, but then all of a sudden, like as like the initiating event would be that a civil war breaks out between heroes and sidekicks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds great.
Which is bad. One, because like now there's no one to fight villains,
Right. Yeah.
and so the big character has to take it upon themselves to like try to fight villains while there's no heroes or sidekicks around to like stop anyone. And
Cool.
One kind of problem I had with the original movie was that the main character has no powers, but he just gets two awesome powers by the end, and he doesn't like he doesn't really learn to accept himself because I don't know, it's kind of part of it. He does sort of accept himself for who he is, but then he just gets powers.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it'd be great if that was their arc, was that they accept themselves for who they are, which is that they don't have powers.
Yeah, I think that was like an idea that seems like it's obviously set up in the movie. But then they kind of go in a different direction with it, which I think more or less still works, and it's still a fun movie.
Yeah.
But it's definitely an idea that's like really obvious, and I think like most of us like thought of, we should actually like follow through on that idea. So,
That was my general.
Spoilers. I did the same thing. Yeah.
You could have Will and his father be on opposite sides.
Right, that'd be cool.
Because then like Will would be on the sidekick side. It's
Right.
like,
Oh.
and so there'd be these, and you have cameos every once in a while from like, the original cast. And stuff. That was my idea, pretty much. So,
Cool.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that idea very much. Okay, so here's my loose collection of stuff that's not in any particular order. Mine is a film. Mine's a movie, even though I do love the idea of doing a TV show. This is a straight up sequel, and it's like a 25-year later thing, so that it's not teenage pregnancy. We do fall. So I suppose like the opening sequence would be something very similar to what we saw in the first one, where there's some big evil bad, and it's like the dance at the end of like the first year. We see that, from the back it looks like it's Will, but it's actually like the camera turns around and it's actually his son, who's doing his end of first year battle with a big bad.
Oh, just dropping us right in. This is the first scene.
This is the opening.
Oh, that's great.
I later it devolves, but I thought of an opening scene because you did an opening scene. So yeah, it's the son of Layla and Will, and he battles, and then he has this moment where he he can fly and he has super strength, but it's still not enough. But then he manifests nature powers as well. So he's got 3 powers. And it's like just one-upping itself, basically. And beats the bad guy. And then we cut to a couple of years later. He's going to be either junior or senior year. And his younger sister is going to be going into her first year. And the thing with the Stronghold family is like they're all like late bloomers with their superpowers. So he, his parents are, talking to her like, don't worry, you don't have any powers. Your brother didn't have any powers when he went into his first year, and he came out with 3. Like, and so her older brother, I actually named these 2, and I gave them really cheesy names.
Perfect.
Because I thought it was funny. So the boy's name is Iron Stronghold. And the girl's name is Saga, because alliteration is cool. Saga Stronghold. So she doesn't have any powers, but and her brother is like hero worshipped. Like he, nobody has ever been born before who has 3 superpowers at once. And it's this kind of thing where you can tell with like people getting together with who have powers and like having kids and stuff that superpowers are getting stronger generationally as they mix and match and what have you. And I had it so that in Sky High, there are no longer sidekicks and heroes. Instead, they do that same test at the beginning. They determine whether you can go solo or whether you're part of a team. So if you're strong enough, you can go solo.
Right.
And you're like an A-lister. And if you're would have been a sidekick before, you form teams of like 4 or 5 people, and you find creative ways to mix and match your powers to be able to match an A-lister, basically.
Right.
And as she has no powers, she would join one of these groups, etc. And there'd be a colorful cast of characters with all kinds of stupid, shitty powers that work really well in the end for whatever the final battle is. But the central tension of the sequel, and I ended up wanting to go like, I wanted to be really cheesy on one hand, but also really get a little bit more interesting on the other hand, was there is a faction of superheroes who are going around and meddling with politics. They are they are forcing people who are corrupt and evil, but in official places of power, to not be shitheads. And there's a lot of concern being drummed up over this because there are a couple of people who are basically creating dictatorships over the world. And so there's this big faction that is like starting to gain momentum and stuff. And the philosophy of this group, which is starting to go like around the school, around Sky High, is that they fight crime all the time. They fight supervillains, and they fight all this, stuff. And the world is still shit. And it's still shit because there are people who are officiaries of the world who get away with what is morally criminal, but is technically legal. And it's the job of people who have powers to save the world. And so they're trying to save the world from really bad people. But taking it too far, whatever. So yeah, that's what that is. There is so Saga Stronghold's the girl. She is totally fine with not having powers, and it's one of those things where she doesn't like. She almost is kind of sick of the whole thing. It's just like punching people is fine, whatever. But there's so much more in the world than punching people, and there are other ways of helping. It's very juvenile in a way. And there was, anyway, it turns out that her brother is the leader of the faction who's going around extorting, or what's the word I'm looking for? Threatening political leaders around the world. So he's gone to like this whole extreme and stuff, and he's like ready to show down that she like talks him down or whatever. And you know, it's like we've got to talk things out and communicate, because you can punch stuff really hard, but that's not gonna fix things. Morals and shit. We got to talk to each other and understand what we're all going through and yada yada yada. Good stuff. And then the way I wanted to bookend this movie was with that 7-page Superman comic where Superman talks somebody down off a roof. I wanted to have there be a kid who was going through stuff in the background of the movie, and she goes to fall off sky high, and our heroine talks her down. And that be where the movie ends.
Cool.
And just to cap off my little idea, I came up with a bunch of stupid superpowers, and I wanted to read them to you. So one of them is that they can turn into salt, which is an easily breakable rock.
Like a salt monster, or just like a pile of salt?
Like a salt monster.
Okay.
But like all you need is, boxing glove. Break their arm or
A
something.
good kick. Okay.
Good kick, yeah. Steel-toed shoes. So you can turn into salt. There's somebody who can change the color of their eyes.
Any color, or is it just like blue, green?
Any color. So I thought the twist with that would be that they could do some like weird hypnotic shit with their eyes by the end. That's it. One person can mimic and excrete any smell that they have experienced. Another one, you know how there's the glowy guy whose power is that he glows?
Yeah.
Well, I thought it would be funny if there was one person whose superpower was that they are warm.
That's actually one of the superpowers of the werewolves in the Twilight Saga.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you.
They're warm.
They're warm.
God damn it.
And the vampires are cold. Do you get it?
They're warm.
I wrote that because it was stupid. I wrote that because it was dumb.
Yeah.
The fact that somebody got
Stephanie
there first
Meyer.
is bad. I have a couple more. One of which is stupid. One of them is they can pull mildly useful objects from behind them like a Looney Tunes character.
like Luke's lightsaber?
Yeah, like friggin' Kylo Ren, but if it was less important than a lightsaber. like an Allen wrench. You could probably pull an Allen wrench out from under there behind them. Yeah, like that. And the last one I had was for a superpower, which I just thought this was a really interesting power. And this would be like the goth kid at school would have, or either goth, really edgy goth kid, or like this super nice, like perfect person who's just like really sweet and lovely, would be a healer who transfers all of your pain and injuries into an evil book that will drive mad the first person that reads it. So just collect evil in this book, and if you read it, you go completely insane and die.
What happens if you drop the book down a well?
It's very complicated.
The well becomes haunted. No, I don't know.
Spooky well.
Yeah, so that's, forgive me for rambling, but that's my pitch for
I like
Sky
the
High
rambles.
2.
Oh, that sounds... Yeah, I like that you went in a totally different direction in terms of like what the villain is and how the story is told.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like it.
So we're gonna mash all of these ideas together. and
Yeah, it's
create
gotta be
a
one.
multi-movie series.
It's gotta be one movie series. We gotta put them all together somehow.
All right, Disney, have you been taking notes?
You better be.
What you do is you have it be a series, but what you do is you combine the first 2 episodes and then the mid 2 episodes and then the final 2 episodes into 3 movies and release those cinematically.
Mm.
It works great for Inhumans.
Yeah, everybody learn the correct lesson from Inhumans.
Yeah, we did.
Learn from the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that eventually paid off.
It was such a terrible movie,
Yeah.
but then it was 7 seasons.
It
7
went-
seasons on a movie.
Yep.
Anyway.
Did anyone see that movie and go, we should make 7 seasons of this?
No idea who said that.
No, because the development was that they made the first. They were making the first season, and then they just
Yeah.
decided to release the first
Well,
like 3
George's
episodes
Yeah.
together.
It was George's idea because he's of the of the era where TV is lesser than movies.
Right. So if you put
So,
it in theaters,
so if you put it in theaters, then it'll
then
be
it's-
on par.
it's
With,
automatically a higher quality.
yeah.
Immediately.
So
No matter how many Jar Jar Binkses you put in it,
Right.
movies are better than TV.
That makes sense.
Everyone knows the Phantom Menace is better than the Mandalorian, guys.
Right?
yeah. Exactly.
Was The Mandalorian released in theaters? I don't think so.
Ergo,
There you
quality.
go.
I like the idea that you had, Patrick, that Layla, or who was it who had the idea that Layla was going around doing non-hero work? Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
immediately.
Say your bit.
Sorry?
Say your bit.
No. I was just. I liked that her. Yeah, that the idea that her thing was less about punching people and more about actually like feeding the poor and stuff like that. That made a lot of
Yeah,
sense.
it seems like she has to, but like if you can choose not to, you can just do that. So
Yeah.
that'd be a better use of that power. Stop
True.
beating people up. You could make plants grow faster. You could like solve world hunger.
Right.
Yeah.
No, Patrick.
Wait,
The
can
only way-
she make lemons now?
Oh yeah.
That's her arc, yeah.
Yeah.
She make lemons now.
that's the post credits scene of every single episode of the first season is her trying to make lemons and not succeeding, and then there's the finale. She does it and she gets it.
Does it like come into play somehow? Like they pour lemon juice and they need to pour lemon juice in like someone's eyes, like distract them or something. And she finally like does it.
Yeah, the one weakness that the bad guy has. Lemon juice in the eyes.
The only thing that can put out the fires of Chris Evans is lemon juice.
Stop him is give him a paper cut, pour lemon juice on it.
I am actually a super fan of superpowers with a drawback as a thing.
Yeah.
Like with a very like defined cost.
Yeah.
So if classic Achilles style thing. You're invulnerable to all damage except you'll die if your ankle gets cut.
Yeah.
Like but there was a show which did this idea really well, and it's a shame because it wasn't a terribly good show. It's called Darker Than Black, and the style of it was like, let's just not do exposition. But the problem with not doing exposition, it is apparent in that there are a lot of questions that you have about the characters in the world that just never get answered.
Right.
So they were just like, no, we're just going to follow these people in scenarios, and they're all just going to talk to each other normally. And the first two people with powers that you meet in that show, one of them, well, I mean, the protagonist is the exception to the rule. You find out later, but one of them has to. I forget. I know there's somebody who has to eat the head of a sunflower every time they use their powers. And somebody else has to arrange arrange pebbles in a special order that takes them 2 minutes to complete. And like there are all kinds of things. There's a guy who uses who's blah. He's a bad guy. He has to take off the boots of whoever he's killed with his powers and put them upside down next to the corpse. And like they're all these like weird things, but the idea is that there's something like specifically triggering or repulsive to the person using the powers. So these things don't necessarily make sense for an outsider, but like, yeah, they're these little drawbacks. One person was kind of like an opera singer, and she had like a siren scream, like a black canary scream that she could do, but she had to smoke a cigarette afterwards to like ruin her voice. Like ruin her lungs. There were some really interesting ideas in that show, but it just didn't quite hit the landing. Stick the landing is the expression.
Well, I gotta get going. Some stuff I gotta do.
All right, I guess we'll call this an episode.
Yeah.
Mostly
Moving
Sky
on.
High, and then a
Or-
brief tangent about Darker Than Black is the episode.
Yeah. What's the best pitch? Which pitch is your pitch? What do you think Disney should do? Make your own pitch. Comment below. All of these things.
Audience engagement makes us famous.
Remember to subscribe and hit that bell.
Hit the like button. Heck, even hit the dislike button. I think that's good for the algorithm too. We just need your feedback at all. We need you to know that we exist.
Today's video is sponsored by Raycon sunglasses. Get your own today. Link in the prescription.
Also, we all have our own channels. Check all of our own channels out.
We're done.
And
Wow.
All right.
alrighty. See ya.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.